Hey, and what's going on everybody? It's Scion Life back here with another video, and today I'm going to be giving you a list of my top 5 favorite slow sports cars. Now you may be asking yourself, what exactly is a slow sports car? Well, this is going to be a car that focuses on handling and the driving experience. Most are going to have small engines and are subsequently going to be from Japan and Europe, and this is just because of the regulations that they have in place over there. And so these cars are going to have a lack of speed that is made up in the driving experience and, just the overall experience of being in the car and, that kind of thing. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So the first car that we're going to be talking about on this list is the Honda S2000, and it was produced from 2000 until 2009, and it came with a 237 horsepower 2.2 liter inline 4 with 162 pound-feet of torque. Now this may not sound like a big, number figure for horsepower and for torque, but you have to remember that this car weighs in at around 2,800 pounds. And that's pretty much going to be the case for the rest of the cars on this list as well, as you'll see coming up. But back to the S2000. So this car, it really set the bar for slow sports cars in the modern era. Whenever you look at cars today, like the Miata, uh, the BRZ, and a couple others that are on this list, they're really modeled after what the S2000 embodied, and they're trying to live up to the hype of the S2000. And the reason that, car manufacturers want to make another S2000 in their own way is because of the world-renowned handling and the driving experience itself. This car was highly praised among a lot of reviewers, a lot of different companies, in a lot of articles, YouTube videos. Anywhere you go and you see a review of an S2000 or a write-up on it, it's going to be praised, and it's just because of how ridiculously awesome this car was in the corners and how fun it was to throw around. And now for the second car on this list, we are going to be talking about the Italian Miata. And yes, that is in fact the Fiat 124 Spider. Now, this car wasn't made for a very long time. It was produced from 2017 until 2020. As you guys may have heard, it was discontinued last year. It was supposed to run for a few more years, the production was, but they decided to cancel it, and it was just because of low sales. But I'm not sure why, because, this is a very great car to drive around. Now, to start off with a little bit of history, this car is the successor to the original 124 Spider from the 60s, and that was also, a very light, nimble, and very fun car at the time. And so this car comes with a 164 horsepower. That's right, this car does not even break 200 horsepower. 1.4 liter four-cylinder with 184 pound-feet of torque. But the kicker of this car is it weighs considerably less than any of the other cars on this list. It weighs in at around 2,400 pounds, and that is ridiculously light, especially for a modern car with modern features. Now, this car, it's like I said, it's very light, it's very nimble, and it's very maneuverable. It may not be as precise as an S2000 per se, but the ridiculously high torque that this car makes, as I already told you before, it makes 184 pound-feet of torque out of a 1.4 liter four-cylinder engine. It kind of makes up for the not as great cornering, but this is still a very fun car nonetheless. And the third entry on this list is going to be the Toyota GT86 and the Subaru BRZ. Now, I've already talked about these two cars before in a prior list video, so I'm just going to give you guys a quick overview. And so this car was produced from 2013 until it was discontinued this year in 2021. Now, its successor is going to be the GR86, which is a little bit better of a car, but it's not out yet, and so it can't be put on this list. And so this car was made as the modern throwback to the classic AE86 Corolla from the 80s, and it came with a 205 horsepower flat 4 with 156 pound-feet of torque. Now, this car weighs just under 2,800 pounds, and it's similar in weight to a lot of the other cars on this list. Now, the perks of having this car, it's very great handling car. It's easy to drive, and the car tells you what it is about to do at all times. It's very responsive. Whenever you're turning into a corner, you know if the car wants to kick out, if you're gonna, oversteer, or, just whatever. It really responds to your driving, and it's really easy to learn from the car and to get the car to learn from you. And in my opinion, this car is today's S2000. It is, it has succeeded the S2000 in a, low powered coupe that handles very well. And so I think that the GT86 and the BRZ are those cars that, they've kind of won the race against, Honda and Mazda in building, that really good handling lightweight coupe. And coming in at the fourth entry on this list, we have the Porsche Boxster 986. Now, this generation of Boxster was produced from 1996 until 2004, and this car, in my opinion, is surprisingly cheap for what you get. You can pick one of these up for well under 10 grand for a very clean model. And it comes with a 217 horsepower, 2.7 liter water-cooled flat 6 with 192 pound-feet of torque. And this car, like so many others on this list, weighs around 2,800 pounds. Now, for under 10 grand, with this car, you're going to get Porsche design, Porsche precision, and features without paying, the price tag of a new or fairly new Porsche, or even a 911 at that time period, which the 911 was the 996 generation. It was the first water-cooled Porsche. It wasn't the greatest 911 ever, and this wasn't the greatest Boxster ever. But with this car, you are going to get every bit of a good Porsche in it for a very low price. This car comes with an excellent rear engine, open top handling car for, just relaxing drives, or if you want to take it into the canyons, it handles very well. It handles like a Porsche should. And, that's why this car is on this list, because it's just a great Porsche for a great price. And for the fifth and final entry on this list, you guys all knew that this car was coming, and it's going to be the Mazda Miata. This car has been made from 1990 until the present day. Now, I could go into detail about the 4 different generations of the car, but I'm not going to, and for the statistics, I'm going to be using the stats that come with the ND Miata, which is the newest Miata. Now, each generation of the Miata, it got updated with a more powerful 4-cylinder, and like I said, the current ND, which is what I'm going to be talking about, it's making about 181 horsepower. All the Miatas, they weigh around 2,300 pounds, and this truly is the original handling roadster sports car. It came out in 1990. It was a little bit before its time, you could say. The S2000 was kind of in the peak of, good handling roadster cars. As we saw, whenever the S2000 went out of production, a lot of handling roadsters, they kind of went out of production as well. And it was just because sales had started to decline. But Mazda, they have been making the Miata for a very long time. And this is a great car. It's going to handle very well. And no car on this list can do what a Miata does, not even an S2K. And these Miatas, they are absolutely adorable, and they are so much fun to drive in the canyons. It is unbelievable how fun they are. And it's just, in my opinion, it's probably the best slow sports car ever. Like the lines, the S2000 and the other cars on this list, they had some years, they had good features that other cars wanted to, live up to, but the Miata has always been like the staple. It's always been there, for us car guys that love handling cars. And so, I had to throw this one on the list just because of that. And that is going to do it for the video. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to leave a like, and if you did enjoy the video, please consider subscribing and following along for more content like this. But for now, this is Scion Life, signing out.